Look, also making news today, the Melbourne CBD brought to a standstill as more than 8,000 fed-up farmers and CFA volunteers travelled to the steps of the state parliament to drive home their opposition to the decision by the state Labor government to push through its hugely contentious emergency services levy. Ushered through well after midnight last week, this new tax will hit every Victorian, but hit our rural and regional communities the hardest. For farmers, it means their annual fire levy will triple, up some 200%, with many facing bills of more than $20,000, some as high as $400,000. And let's not forget that the farmers forced to pay this unsustainable new fire levy are the same farmers who leave their land to fight our bushfires for free. Let me say that again. Farmers are paying tens of thousands of dollars to the government only to be left to protect their own communities and our national parks and our highways, the whole lot, themselves. Now, how's that fair? Many of them having to pay workers to work on their farms while they fight fires over summer, having to use their own privately owned firefighting trucks and equipment because the state Labor government does not fund the CFA as it should. Today they drove in service vehicles, trucks and utes, blocking roads into Melbourne to make an important point. There is a deep disconnect between this Labor government and hard-working farmers who right now, tonight, are staring down the barrel of one of the worst droughts in living memory. Today, I spoke to just a few of them, and here they are. What made you come out today?
It's just a disgusting money grab, and it's just completely unfair on farmers. Be expected to pay ridiculous overspending within the city.
Do you know how much the hit will be on you?
An extra $5,000 a year.
The government are just trying to burn us, and we're all volunteers and we spend hours and hours out on the fire ground.
This tax is, as we all know, it's just another tax to fill holes in the Labor government's economy.
We spent our Christmas and our New Year's and everything on the fire truck. What were you doing, Jacinta? Were you sitting at home with your family? Well, we weren't. So you can get stuffed, in my opinion.
Some of them were full of expletives. I couldn't put them to air, but God, they're angry. And while these guys rallied on Spring Street, just a few minutes away, of course, the Premier was there with her Treasurer, hailing a budget surplus. But this is all smoke and mirrors. This is not a real surplus. Here's why. Look at this table. A skinny, almost make-believe $600 million is the surplus. And do you know what? $600 million is exactly the same amount they're raising from this new levy. This is not a levy, actually. It's a fire services tax. Let's call it what it is. Meaning that this new tax hike is not about fighting fires. It's about the smoke and mirrors of a so-called surplus that the Premier hopes will save her sorry political backside. Well, I can tell you if the people in Melbourne today had their say, she'd be gone already. There was even this canny sign calling on her backbench to do the right thing by Victorians and remove her. To help you understand just how tough it is for farmers out west, some told me today that they've been forced to dry sow. That is to put seed on dry, barren land and hope and pray for rain. Many have already sold their stock to make ends meet and ensure they didn't then have animals starve to death in paddocks. I mean, it is heartbreaking. Today, farmers told me they're contemplating walking off the land for good. Others, well, it was clear the mental health toll is pushing them to the brink. Now, any leader worth their salt would have walked out of their office and fronted that crowd today and listened. Listened to their stories, the anxiety, the uncertainty, everything they had to say to me. But you know what happened? The Premier, she just hid in her office. Now, I find that unbelievable. It is completely gutless. And that alone should disqualify her, in my view, from any position of leadership. What is it with Victoria? First Daniel Andrews, and now this apprentice Jacinta Allen. Well, good on the opposition leader Brad Batten, who today made this commitment.
I will make the commitment to you that if we are elected on November next year, the Victorian Liberals will scrap that tax and hand that money back to Victoria.
I just hope that between now and next year's election due in November, enough of those wonderful farmers, those communities, those volunteers can hang on.